Banner.
OG legend.
Banner, I got you, my guy. Yeah.
MCs, take notes. Let's go. Probably took a shot, even shot a few too. Now my future bright, looking not as futile. My mind was frugal, my pop was brutal. School of hard knocks, all I did round the clock was doo-doo. On the block all day and night like a prostitute do. Every artist out there y'all like on the charts a doo-doo. I'm from where thoughts will convolute you, the cops are cuckoo. Charge you, try you, and prosecute you, if not just shoot you. Knock off your whole tribe with the chopper like Shaka Zulu. Chef the impossible, opposite Pyrex, pots of voodoo. Block magician, I chop a brick to a pasta noodle. Fuck the charts, a roll out, I cop the old out and cop the new. This is my possible moment of truth, shouts to Guru. Cock the Glock, let it do the do like cock-a-doodle. Hospital, nah, growing up only doctor you knew was Dr. J, Dr. Dre, and maybe that Dr. Drew dude. I was raised by Gregory and James Evans, dog. I catch you without that weapon, that's Frank Drebin, dog. That's naked, dog, that's sacred, dog. I spray it, dog, that's aerosol, let's face it, dog. I Che Guevara, dog. Y'all make mistakes, not me, I create errors, dog. I play forever, dog. Ever, ever, dog? Ever, ever, dog. Ever, ever, dog? I play forever, dog. Never lost. Record of win some lessons, y'all. Too effortless with the rhetoric to be a legend, dog. As far as the bars and measures, I'm probably highly regarded as God up in heaven, dog. I play forever, dog. That's light. Let me tell you something. I only come out of my house for legends. Nobody else. Legend. Love and respect to my boy Banner.
Coming straight out of the booth, Detroit. We got Royce the 5'9". Oh shit! Royce.
What's up, brother? What's going on? Do I need these? Mm-hmm. Okay. What up, what up?
Welcome to the David Banner Podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Man, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for having me, man.
Good thing, brother.
It's an honor and a privilege.
Word,
honor and a privilege.
So really quick, bro, before we even get started, bro, like, got a new project, man.
Yeah.
Like, tell us everything about the new project. We gotta make sure we pay the bills first, bro.
Yeah,
Let's
of course,
get that out of the way.
Of course. Gotta pay those.
All right.
It's called the Allegory. It comes out February 21st. It's my most experimental project.
Right.
I produced it all myself.
Right.
You very familiar with producing.
Right.
I started and I drew all the inspiration from the process of learning how to produce. Well, learning how to make beats.
Right.
I knew how to produce prior to. I pretty much did all the arranging in Slaughterhouse. I arranged all my stuff, and I'm just learning how important all of these elements are to making projects and how much all of them fall in the producer side, in the producer category. You know, like arranging and all that stuff. So it's fun to do.
So I saw that you were influenced by some reading you were doing, bro.
Oh yeah. Of course, yeah. I was reading the Allegory, the Cave Theory by Plato.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar.
Of course,
yes,
of course.
I'm very familiar.
What I pulled from it was human programming and perspective. You know, like if somebody put you in a cave as a kid, and that's all you knew, you know, and they took you out of the cave maybe 10 years later, and you know, you had to look at the sun and your eyes would hurt trying to adjust to looking at the sun, and looking at large bodies of water would look strange to you. And even though that this is your reality, this is really reality that you're looking at, is not reality to you until you're willing to accept this as your reality, because you very well could just turn around and go back in the cave, which at that moment may be an easier option for you.
And the thing about me when I read it is you don't have the descriptors in your vocabulary to go back in the cave and tell the other people who are facing the wall.
Right.
Like that's the hardest thing to find a level of illumination or understanding. What words do you use to tell somebody who's been facing the wall all their life?
Unlearn.
How do you describe the sun?
Right, exactly. Something you've never seen before, something they've never seen before. And the truth sounds like that a lot of times. The truth sounds like that to a lot of people a lot of times. And I think the more open-minded that you are, the more willing you are to take in new information, and especially being willing to unlearn some of the things that you learn. I think the closer you get to really knowing how to thrive and flourish. And if not, just putting yourself in a position to where we can suit the next generation and we can serve them a little bit better than we have been doing.
Right. Can you give an example of how reading that influenced a specific song? Like, give me an example of a song, if you don't mind. Like,
you know what it is? It's not. I never have like whole songs. What I do is I sprinkle throughout the album different thoughts, different ideologies. Some things may come up in the skit. Some things may not even be an ideology that I adopt myself. It may be something that just exists that I feel like needs to be seen or needs to be heard. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's one of those albums that kind of like, it puts the mirror up to a lot of truths, and it kind of forces you to look at it, because I feel like hip hop is kind of like, for all intents and purposes, I feel like a lot of hip hop is kind of like a party. It's kind of like a party that people go to get away from reality.
One thing I've always liked about you that I do to myself, and you're actually a little bit more outward with it than I am. A lot of times people think I'm talking about other rappers when I'm actually critiquing myself. I'm actually holding the mirror up to myself, bro. I heard a song, bro, where you just talked about, you know, death and birth at the same time, and riding up the elevator, coming out the elevator.
Yeah.
You know, when you were losing a loved one, bro, and it was like you held a mirror up to yourself, bro. Like that takes a lot of strength, bro. Like, and for me, a lot of times I'll write things that I then don't want to really sit back and listen to. Like my old albums, I really don't like listening to, because I was in such a dark, morbid place at that time. Would you say that this process that you're using with this current album, is it refreshing to you? Is it your diary? Like, what would you say that this level of writing is for you?
Well, my last album was kind of like my diary. It was called The Book of Ryan, and I think it was my most personal project to date. And I think every artist should have at least one of those. One of those self-defining projects. Death is Certain was my second album. That was my album that I can't listen to. You cannot play one song off of that album. I don't perform any of the songs except Boom. Boom is the only, but it wasn't even on that album. But yeah, I don't perform any of those songs. It just reminds me of just a dark place, making bad decisions, you know, just really, really drunk all the time, really, really angry all the time. And no young man should have to go through that, especially not while following his dreams and the art. So now that I did the self-reflective thing, I did the personal thing. This is the first time I was able to provide information. This is the first time I was able to step outside of myself a little bit and bestow some wisdom onto the next generation, especially as it pertains to the music business. I feel like these kids are coming in with not enough information. We came in with none. You may have came in with a little more than me because you're a college graduate. I came in not knowing anything. Everything was trial and error. Everything was just learning from mistakes.
The fucking way you was rapping, couldn't nobody tell. But there's different levels of intellect. There's different levels of education, bro. And what we pull off of it and what we do is really important. Salih is the A&R of the crew and has been following you for a while. You got a couple questions for him, bro?
Oh, nah, it was just now when you just was talking, when I talk about the Overcome, I didn't know you said you produced everything off that album, so you produced that one too. Yeah, that went crazy. But like,
thank you.
You one of those guys is like, you rappers' favorite rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like, all your features be like, when you be having stuff like, if you, off the Book of Ryan, you had a joint on there with like Ross, and you still be having cats like Saha. Like, you be with different people that you wouldn't think would be together on a track with you, and it's always dope how you do that.
Yeah, I like to do that. I like to not not be so predictable, you know. And also, everybody calls me that, like the MC's MC, and I know why that is, because I fell in love with the process of making raps and doing music at the open mics, battling people, rapping for my peers. Yo, all I wanted to do was just be considered dope to Razzcast and Redman. That was a dream of mine. I don't think I remember there being a time where I was like, yo, I can't wait to get rich. And I never had those moments. It was always a skill thing to me. It was always a skill set thing to me. I always wanted to be just a practitioner, you know? So that's what it is. So it's when I put pen to paper, my first love is always going to be competitive rapping.
Is that still the case, like, with your friends? I know when I was in the group Crooked Letters, like, even though we were in the same group, at all times we was trying to smash each other.
That's the funnest thing, man. That's the funnest part to me. You know what I mean? Like, I know we have moments in hip hop where people are like, oh man, nobody want to hear that rappity rap. Usually that comes from people who can't rap, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And they using that so you won't rap. Right.
Yeah, so like I got to go in the studio with Crooked Eye, you know what I'm saying? Like Eminem, it does something to me where it's like I don't just walk in there regular. I come in there with like coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to go in there ready, because Crook, those two, they're gonna try to hurt you bad,
and they should.
Yeah, I don't care what we rapping about, what we're doing. They're coming for you. They're coming for you, and I think that's a great place to be in, friendly competition, because these are guys who realize that even though they're my contemporaries, we're not against each other. We're competitive with each other, but we are on the same team. Artists in hip-hop need to realize that we're not against each other.
It's crazy you said that. Me and T.I. just did a joint podcast, and I told Tip that. He was like, Banner, could we do, you know, the Mississippi Prison podcast together? And I was like, hell yeah. He was like, for real? I was like, yeah, we're not competition.
Yeah.
We are a tribe.
Exactly.
We are a tribe. They make us feel like we're against each other. And the first time I ever felt that way was with Black Thought on the God Box. People, I called Scarface and I said, Scarface, how you feel about the God Box? And I said, what's your favorite song? He was like, well, bro, this is not my favorite song, but he was like, the song I think about the most is the one with Black Thought. He said, because not only did you walk away still alive, you went second. And I said, well, I didn't think about it at the time from a competitive space when I made that particular song, because the God Box I made for the people. So I felt like it was a comrade who was helping me to hold that load for a minute until we were able to, you know what I'm saying, deliver it to the people. And was just honored that we could be on the same song together and it be comparable, you know? But like all my life, forever, I've always say, bro, like, we have to sharpen each other. We have to make each other better, bro. Or what's the reason for doing it?
That's what was always so dope about with Slaughterhouse. It was like, oh, y'all really can go. You know what I'm saying? And like that don't happen often. Like where everybody just going every time. Like you could listen to that, and it was like it didn't matter whose verse was up. Somebody was getting it. You know what I'm saying? Getting busy. So
I appreciate that, man.
Real dope, bro.
I appreciate it.
So Karan, who's my little brother, he's from Detroit too.
Okay.
So like,
what up, though?
My guy.
He always tells me just about the environment and the living situations that, you know, the things that you all had to endure on a daily basis, man. Like how did that mold you as an MC?
As an MC,
or as a person?
You know what? I was heavy in the sports. Very disciplinarian type of dad. My dad was damn near a drill sergeant, man. You know,
Mine was.
Yeah. So, you know that generation, we around the same age, you know what I'm saying? So my dad, that whole generation, I think that their thing was keep them as busy as possible to keep them out of trouble. So that's what he would do. You know, like I would just be playing sports year round, you know what I mean? And through that process, I think that's how I learned how to play well with others. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why it was easy for me to be in a group. I'm in 3 groups.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I'm in
How
Slaughterhouse.
How do you handle that?
I mean, I love it because I take something away from each different situation. And you know, as soon as I started to apply those different things that I took from each situation to what I was doing, it made me better as an artist, as a person.
Karan, don't you still have records in high school in Detroit, or was that college?
Detroit and Detroit and in
What
college.
records do you hold in Detroit? What high school was that?
King, Martin Luther King. I went to King. So all state, you know, did all that basketball, football, track.
You was all state in all of them?
All three, yeah.
Dang.
You played in the league.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so just amazing. Like I said, I was just sitting thinking, man, what is it like being an artist coming from the city and just being, you know how it is at home, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously you just telling me about your old man. That linked in with us together. Like I was like, yes, how my old man was too. Like let's just keep him going, keep him doing something, because in the city, as you know, like that idle time was what got us, you know, messed up every time.
Yeah,
you know,
the corners.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So being one of the few people, like, you know, because even in the city, we got some people that got out. You know what I'm saying? We got Jalen, we got a bunch of us that did, you know, did well and representing the city, but like it's still not as many as like a New York or but we got the ones we got, you know. So like, what for you as an artist? Like, what's your why, man? Like, what's your purpose? Like, what's your that thing that keeps you going? I know, like I was talking to my brother today, man. Detroit don't get any of the credit we get for the hustle we got in us. Like everybody talks about the New York hustle and the different hustles around the world, but like a Detroit dude, I mean, we got hustle. Like we figure shit out quick because we got to.
Yeah, I mean, I just one thing I noticed about myself looking at it in retrospect is I was doing a lot of things mentally. A lot of the things that I kind of swear by these days that I can actually put verbiage to and say, yo, this is how I think. This is before I even knew I was doing that, I was kind of doing it. So I don't know where it comes from, but when I decided that I was going to do music, you know, the anecdotal facts and information that they gave us a generation before, you know, like they say things like, make sure you got a backup plan. Make sure you got something to fall back on. I never did that. I don't know if I just wasn't efficient enough to do it. I never did that.
Nobody sitting on this table did that.
Yeah. I never, and I don't give that as advice either.
No, I give it if you feel it.
Not to artists. I don't give it to artists.
No, I tell artists to be smart and eat first because you can't be creative if your ass is hungry.
Yeah, because this is kind of the music business and it just being an artist. It's a lifestyle. It's not like a job where you hit a clock. No,
you are the source of your everything.
Yeah, you gotta live it. You gotta live it. So you can't don't put things into your head like something to fall back on, because you will end up falling on that, whatever that is.
Absolutely. That's like my mother told me. She's like, Karan, I know you want to be a professional athlete and everything, but what's your backup plan? I said, Mom, I think I might have been 14 when I came up with this analogy on the spot. I said, Mom, if a person is walking a tightrope and they got a safety net, how do you think they're probably gonna fall? If nothing else, just to feel the damn feel of the net, because that would be fun. But Mama, I ain't got no safety net. I'm gonna walk this tightrope. I can't fall. If I fall, I die. And as an artist, that's what it's got to be. Like as an athlete, as a doctor, whatever you're gonna be, if you don't believe in it and want to die for it, then you probably not gonna succeed at it.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question, bro. Detroit as a city was exploited by a lot of different people and a lot of different organizations that led to bankruptcy. You know, now that the people are reemerging and the city is finding its way again, do you think that the people in Detroit are benefiting from these corporations, bro? Or do you think it's a money grab for people who are coming and seeing an opportunity?
I don't know how intelligently I can speak about that, but I can tell you this. I can give you my opinion. It doesn't seem like the people are benefiting for the most part. It just looks like, you know, real estate moguls and people who are allowed, you know, certain levels of economic inclusion are coming in and just doing what they normally do. Like Dan Gilbert, you know, he's a great real estate guy. You know, he's a great mogul. I just don't know, and I know a lot of very affluent black people in Detroit. I just don't know of any that's buying buildings. You know what I mean?
Or have access to buy those buildings.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
So what you break down is basically is gentrification at its best going on in Detroit right now.
That's it.
That was the reason why I asked.
Yeah,
Because,
it's out of control.
Because the next question that I was asking is that there's so many industries that pimp the African American culture. I just had this piece that went viral about Nike and how it takes different faces, like, and for example, the Jordan, and we give billions to these companies, especially multi-millions of dollars to these companies, and because we are such a consumer-based culture, it really doesn't benefit us. And when we need these corporations and these people, they never show up for us. So like, I look at it the same way in the things that they do to our cities. He's from Youngstown, Ohio. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. Well, she doing all right. She from San Francisco. They balling.
That is definitely not true.
San Francisco balling.
No,
Gina.
it's definitely not.
But honestly though, it's like, what responsibility do
really
these
been
corporations
gentrified.
have and these people have that take advantage of our communities and our culture? And what are some of the things you think we should expect from them?
That's a good question. I'll say this. I'll say that we can set whatever standards we want to set. It's the same with the record business. In solidarity, as a collective. Can you imagine if all of us artists got together and told the record labels, from now on, you're going to include health insurance. That's standard in every record deal. Same way they made the 360 deal standard. All they did was present it to us as a collective.
Yep. And then made it as the industry got younger and younger, and they didn't know, because what I tell people all the time, the executives get older, but the talent gets younger.
Yes.
And every time there's someone who, like a Master P comes through, David Banner comes through, all of these different people come through, that break the mold, they make sure that doesn't happen for the generation that comes next.
Yeah.
And then there is a gap between us as artists. So our contracts don't get better for us, they just get worse in most cases.
Yeah.
So how do you think we can bridge that gap between artists and ask for some of those things to happen?
Well, we gotta realize these milestones. You know what I mean? Like the milestone when you did your contract, the milestone when Master P did his deal, when Baby did the Cash Money deal, which was the most lucrative deal in the history of music.
Right.
Did you know that?
I did.
The Cash Money deal.
The history of music?
Music.
Wow.
In the history of music. So we got to take those moments and use them as like a measuring stick and an opportunity to really spread information. Spread information, pass information down, because it's just a disconnect in information as time goes. Like what happened here, it doesn't get talked about because what's being marketed to them is stacks of money being to the ear.
Right.
You know, this artist beefing with this artist.
Right.
That's what's being marketed to them. Every rapper is rich. As soon as you get on, you got the bag. As soon as you get on, this person got a $10 million deal. Well, what did this person do? What did he give up for? $10 million.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like every time I hear that, I'm like, yo, what did this person give up for that?
One of my
And also, what is how is that $10 million distributed? It's
Yes.
not like he's walking away with $10 million.
with the bag with $10 million in it. Right.
Absolutely.
And that's what the headline is gonna say. Always on that story.
I had an African friend once. He told me, he said, David Banner, one of the reasons why Africans don't come to help a lot of African Americans is because in their mind they think we're all rich, because that's what we put on TV.
Right.
We never put the real life. Everybody says 100, but we really only tell 5% of the story.
Can you imagine a rapper getting on Instagram and saying he's poor?
Wow.
He'd probably fall off.
Wouldn't nobody want to help either.
If I just
so
got on
terrible.
Instagram and was like, you know what, I'm not rich, I'm just okay. They'd be like,
Fuck him, he's not doing well. Hey, in closing, bro, Tree is out there having the fit, bro. She said it's time to go, bro. We're gonna bring you back, bro.
Of course.
Anything in
Anytime.
closing, man? Make sure that they, everything that they need to know about you. And hold on for a minute, bro. Can you? Yeah, because we couldn't see. It was just so much.
check out the Allegory when it comes out February 21st. It's just an album of me just living in the center of my truth, which is I feel what every artist should do. You know, you can't fake it. You can't fake it for long periods of time. It's easier to just get it right. You know, and what comes truthfully and what it is about you that makes you you. There's only one of you. That's what's gonna resonate the best. And yeah, that's it. That's it. And
Any shows coming up?
you know what? I'm gonna probably go on tour sometime after the album comes out. I'm more of like a studio guy. You know, like I'm a studio guy. I do shows at a minimum.
Quick question before you go, bro, because this is what I really wanted to ask you. This actually comes from Tommy Nova, and his nickname is Skeeter. How is it being a dad for you, bro? Like, I always like people to know when people are fathers. Like, Karan is one of the best dads I've ever seen in my life. We used to train together, and at night he would talk into his son's ear and tell his son, just feed into his subliminal thoughts and tell him that you're everything.
Amazing.
That you can make it. Like, how is it being a dad for you? And Tree, here he come.
she looking like he gonna talk for an hour about this. It's great. It's great. I mean, you know, as black men, our perspective changes so much as we grow. And I got different ways that I feel about my dad and child relationship with each of them, because I got a 21-year-old son who's an artist now. And you know, he got the worst of the years. So he turned out great considering what he could have been because of what his daddy was when he was actually growing. I was at alcohol. Well, I'm still alcoholic.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna bring you back again. I want to talk about the alcohol.
Yeah. So he's an artist and he's very, very advanced. And part of the reason is because of what you just said. I always told him everything he did was great. I always did, because I felt like it was too early for critique. You know, anything I listened to that I did when I was 20, 21 years old, I thought it was terrible listening back to it. So, and I realized how well I did things when I was confident, when I was sure about it. So I just kind of indoctrinated him with confidence, and he's on his way.
And don't discount the fact that you was still there, dog. The fact that he could see you fuck up a little bit and do the things that was not necessarily the right thing, but you was still there to be seen. That right there is huge in our community alone. And the fact that you was there, bro. Kids, we take for granted how smart kids are, man. They know what's right and what's wrong without us telling them. So, you know. And salute to you, brother. Salute.
Thank you, brother.
He couldn't wait to push that button. It's the David Banner Podcast.
Thank y'all, man.